In this 1-hour English vocabulary masterclass, you're going to learn 197 words to sound accurate and precise in English. These words will help you sound advanced and professional in English. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, in this masterclass, you'll learn how to replace simple and overused words like easy, bad, happy, smart with advanced and better alternatives. First of all, just know there's nothing wrong with using simple words. You can and should use these words in your daily speech. The goal of this lesson is just to give you alternatives. Learning these alternatives will also help you improve your comprehension when natives use these words. Now let's start with a word that I'm guilty of overusing. And just remember that native speakers are guilty of overusing these words as well. Our first word, our vacation was amazing. I'm sure you know the word amazing, and you might think, well, this is a replacement to a common word. It's a replacement to good, very good, or great. And that's true, but this replacement word, amazing, has become overused. And I say I'm guilty of it because there are 30 or more common alternatives. So why just use the same word over and over again when 30 or more alternatives exist? So let's review the most common. The concert was simply incredible. So here the alternative word is incredible. Incredible. Now you can modify this to make it sound stronger and say simply incredible. My English progress in just 1 month is astonishing. Astonishing. Now, hopefully that's something you are thinking right now, and hopefully my lessons play a role in helping you get astonishing results, amazing results, astonishing results. If you think so, then put that's right, put that's right in the comments. We also use amazing to describe scenery or buildings or situations even. For example, the sunset was breathtaking, to use a replacement to amazing. Now don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description.
We're bringing incredible talent and tools.
The story of the Lake Peigneur drilling accident is an astonishing record.
It was initially constructed in 1436, but the astonishing front facade wasn't completed until the 19th century.
Our next common word, the restaurant was nice. Nice, this is a positive adjective. It's a feeling of general satisfaction. Of course, you can use it to describe people, things, or experiences. For example, you can say, what a pleasant day. What a pleasant day. So this is something you can use every single day. Or you can say, the receptionist at the hotel was lovely, instead of describing him or her as nice, was lovely. Now that is a person. You can also describe an experience or a specific object. Our stay at the hotel was delightful, delightful. We had an enjoyable time at the park.
It's been a pleasant surprise to be involved in this kind of thing.
And this really does have a lovely sauce to it, even though we put cream cheese in it.
Now, sleeping is delightful.
Here's a common word you probably use every day. The exam was easy, easy. You can say, I studied for weeks, so the exam was a piece of cake. I find that most students know this idiom, to be a piece of cake. The exam was a piece of cake. Or hopefully you're thinking right now, Jennifer makes learning English easy peasy. So you just add the word peasy here, easy peasy. It sounds very fun, very casual, very lighthearted. So if you agree that Jennifer makes learning English easy peasy, put that's right in the comments. Or you could say, you make speaking in public look effortless. Look easy, look effortless. Now you could say the instructions were easy to follow or easy to understand. So you can replace easy to follow with the instructions were straightforward and or clear. So you can use both or you can just use one.
If it would work, we know it would work. Piece of cake, I think most people would get behind it.
It's effortless. We just do it without really thinking about it.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Now, what's the opposite of easy? The exam was hard. You can say, I didn't study, so the exam was challenging. The exam was difficult. Or you could say, we thought the hike was going to be a piece of cake or easy peasy, but it was strenuous, strenuous. It was arduous, arduous. Both strenuous and arduous mean requiring much effort or energy, so they're generally used with physical tasks. You can also say, I had a tough day, instead of saying I had a hard day.
The cosmetics were challenging.
It's going to be difficult to get them to pay.
Because of this, couples avoid tough conversations about money before getting married.
How about this easy word? The traffic downtown is always bad. Instead of bad, you can say the traffic this morning was dreadful, dreadful. Or I had a terrible headache last night instead of bad headache. The food on the plane was appalling, appalling. This is more severe than bad. It means very bad. So often these alternatives can replace very or so plus the common adjective.
You know, they're just so earnest and dreadful.
I asked my son, who is by the far terrible, terrible athlete, gets it from his dad.
I wouldn't crave it, but it's not terrible.
How about this common one? She's a happy person. I think this describes me overall. Instead, you can say she's a joyful person. She's a cheerful person. You can say he was elated, elated after hearing the good news. She felt ecstatic, ecstatic when she got the job.
It was so good, and I brought the joyful grains.
I know that others felt devastated or elated.
But I didn't care. I was jumping up for joy. I was ecstatic. I was happy.
Our next common word, that was a smart question. Instead of smart, you can say that was a clever question. That was a brilliant question. Brilliant sounds like very smart. Or you can say he's extremely intelligent. He's extremely bright. You don't have to use the modifier extremely is just an option. Just like you could say he's extremely smart or just he's smart. He gave an astute. He gave an astute analysis of the market. That is an excellent word to use in a more professional or academic environment. You can say his ingenious. His ingenious method solved the issue quickly.
There are more clever ways to prove bounds on the COP number.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very astute observation.
Well, local officials came up with a brilliant plan.
Here's a common one that native speakers overuse. The documentary was interesting. Instead of interesting, you can say, the history of ancient Egypt is fascinating. Or the speaker gave an intriguing presentation. His captivating performance held the audience's attention. Captivating. These are great alternatives because interesting can sometimes mean negative, but the three alternatives I gave you are always used in a positive way.
But I just think it's a fascinating idea.
I think it's so captivating to see this couple in this really intense night of their lives.
I find the definition of compassion is a fascinating one, and it's not one that I hear people talk about.
Our next common word, thanks for the beautiful flowers. Again, there is nothing wrong with saying beautiful, but there are so many beautiful alternatives, like the word gorgeous. Her garden is gorgeous. The colors of the leaves in fall are stunning, stunning. Or the flower vase is exquisite, exquisite. Now notice I said vase. Both pronunciations, vase, which rhymes with face, and vase, which has an ah but a z sound, both are used in American English, which is interesting because vase is the American pronunciation and vase is the British pronunciation. And generally in American English, we don't adopt British pronunciation, but for this specific word, vase or vase, both are commonly used in North America.
There are kind, loving men looking for a gorgeous woman like you.
Deep sea corals actually come in a stunning array of brilliant color.
Cahal was in awe of its exquisite detail, both as a scientist and an artist.
Our next common word, I have an important meeting this afternoon. How many times do you describe something as important? I know I sure use it a lot. Instead, you can say the meeting is crucial, crucial. Or this is a significant, significant opportunity for our company. You can say it's vital, vital, or it's essential, essential to get enough rest before the exam.
But their influence is crucial in the development of their children.
Now, the site is a work in progress, but it's significant progress because it's designed with the users who matter most.
Having these vital money talks before getting married will prepare you to have them during marriage from a place of honesty and understanding.
Our next common word, the movie was funny. Instead of funny, you can say the comedian is hilarious, hilarious. This sounds like very funny. Or her reaction was humorous. Her reaction was comical. Instead of saying you're very funny, you can say you're very witty, witty. Keep in mind though that this means funny in a clever way. So it does have a slightly different meaning from funny, but it's a great alternative to know.
Made-up nonsense gibberish is frequently hilarious.
He's very keen on, his work is very humorous anyway.
He was a very witty, very wise man.
How about this common word? I made a big mistake rejecting the job offer. You can say it was a substantial mistake, but we can fix it. Or this is an enormous, that sounds like very big, enormous project. You can use enormous to describe objects. You can also use massive. Elephants are massive. Elephants are massive. Elephants are enormous.
We've come to a very substantial phase 1 deal.
All these things are areas where we've made an enormous investment and there have been significant payoffs.
These are massive machines.
And what's the opposite of big? It was a small mistake, a small mistake. Let's review some common alternatives. Don't be mad, it's a tiny mistake. We can fix it. Tiny is very small. So if you want to minimize the importance of a mistake, you can say it was a tiny mistake. Here's a great one. I made some minor changes to the report. Minor changes. Or you could describe an object and say only compact cars can park here. It's an alternative to saying small cars. Only compact cars can park here. With money or resources, you can say we invested a modest amount of money.
Soil is mostly made of little tiny rocks. Its texture depends on the size of those rocks.
In between all these minor changes, wash your hands, wear a mask, get a vaccine,
You know the drill.
So although the findings were pretty modest, the WHO thinks this one's worth a shot.
Here's one that might apply to you. Many students are scared of speaking English in public. You can say, she became terrified. Terrified. That sounds like very scared. She became terrified when she found out she had to give a presentation. Or the noise frightened the kids. Frightened instead of scared. Now, to say extremely scared, you can use the word petrified. I'm petrified of spiders.
We are terrified of being wrong.
What are you frightened of ever losing?
My engagement ring.
I was absolutely petrified of this man.
Let's review this common word. It was brave of you to agree to give the presentation in front of 2,000 people. Even though you were petrified, it was brave of you. You can say she made the bold decision to move abroad. It's brave, it's bold. She made the bold decision. Or it was courageous. It takes a lot of courage. It was courageous of you to quit your job.
For the first time in my life, I understood how courageous she is.
So we were so proud of him because he was so courageous, so visionary.
Now, that's a pretty bold statement.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. Now we'll review confusing word pairs that students often try to use to sound advanced, but they get wrong. You'll learn how to correctly use these word pairs. Let's review these word pairs as a little quiz. She was after her long trip. She was weary after her long trip. Did you get that right? Let's review this confusing word pair. We have weary. Listen to that pronunciation. Eerie, like ear. Weary, weary. This means very tired or lacking energy and enthusiasm. And this could be why, after the long journey, she felt completely weary and needed to rest. Or he grew weary of the constant complaints from his colleagues. So he grew tired of them. They made him lack energy and enthusiasm. He grew weary. Now, hopefully you're not lacking energy or enthusiasm when you're watching this video. If not, say, I'm excited, or you can sound really natural and say, I'm fired up, which means I'm excited, the opposite of weary. So put that in the comments now. I'm excited, I'm fired up. Don't confuse this with wary. Notice that pronunciation, air, where, wary. Repeat that. Wary. This means not completely trusting or certain about something or someone. She was wary of strangers offering help after her previous bad experiences. Investors are becoming wary of the potential risks in the market. Let's review them side by side. Remember, weary. Repeat after me, weary. Tired or exhausted. Wary, repeat after me, wary. Cautious or careful. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now, how about this one? The dress was made for her wedding. The dress was made specially for her wedding. Specially. First, let's review especially. Notice that especially. especially. For pronunciation, it's a very soft difference, and you might not hear it at a natural pace. And I know some students, they add an at the front of S's, so when you try to say especially, make sure you don't add that and make it sound like especially. So repeat after me, especially. This is used to single out one person or one thing over all others. So it's to emphasize the importance of something. She loves all styles of dance. Now, I want to emphasize one. Even though I'm talking about the category of dance, I want to emphasize one. So I can say especially ballet, especially ballet. The cake was delicious. Now that's a general statement. I want to highlight, to point out, to emphasize one thing about the cake that was delicious. The cake was delicious, especially the chocolate frosting. Now let's compare that to specially. Notice that repeat that, specially. This means for a particular purpose, in a special manner. Although native speakers will benefit from this lesson, because remember I told you that even native speakers confuse these words. So although native speakers will benefit from this lesson, it was made specially for non-native speakers, especially for you. Or I could say, I made this cake specially for you, because maybe it's your birthday. Remember, especially, repeat, especially. Used to highlight something as being more important or relevant than others. Specially, repeat, specially. Used to indicate something done for a specific purpose or in a special manner. How about this one? The car remained during the traffic jam. The car remained stationary during the traffic jam. Stationary, notice that pronunciation, stationary. This means not moving or still. Right now, I am stationary. I'm not moving, I'm still. We often use this with objects. The bike remained stationary on its stand. Let's compare this to stationary. Exact same pronunciation. Notice there is just a spelling difference. Stationary, same pronunciation, but this is writing materials such as paper and envelopes. She bought new stationery for her office, or the store sells beautiful stationery and cards. So remember, stationary, this means not moving or still. Stationary with the exact same pronunciation but slightly different spelling is writing materials like paper and envelopes. How about this one? She is a woman of strong. She is a woman of strong principles. This is another one where the pronunciation is the same, it's just a spelling difference. Principles, this is a basic truth, and also used for moral rules for behavior. For example, honesty is an important principle in our family. Or he stood by his principles even when it was difficult. Now, I'm sure you know who the principal is in a school. So the principal or a principal is the head of a school, but this can also mean main or most important. For example, the school principal delivered the speech. The principal reason, so in this case it means the main reason, the principal reason for the delay was the weather. So remember, principle, this is a basic truth or moral rule. And principal, the same pronunciation. This is the head of a school or the most important. So remember that spelling difference. How about this one? The news had a big on him. The news had a big effect on him. Affect with an A, this is a verb. It means to have an influence on or make a difference to. For example, the cold weather can negatively affect your health. Notice how we added negatively because something can positively affect you or something else as well. In this one, his words deeply affected her feelings. In this case, we actually don't know if it's positive or negative. We would need more information. Now, effect. Notice here when I say the individual word effect, I stress that E more, but in a natural sentence, I would just say affect. I wouldn't stress it as much, so it will sound very similar to affect, the verb. It's the sentence structure that will tell you which one is needed because affect is a verb and effect is a noun. And as a noun, it means the result of a particular influence. For example, the medicine had an immediate effect. So here I know it's a noun on the patient's symptoms. Or the new policy had a positive effect because again, effects can be positive or negative, just like the verb. So the policy had a positive effect on the company's productivity. So remember, affect, repeat after me, affect, affect. This means to influence or make a change, and affect, said without stress, more in the natural way, affect, repeat after me, affect. This is the result of an outcome or a change. How about this one? I will, your invitation. You probably knew it was I will accept your invitation. In this case, it's the pronunciation that is very similar, and that might cause the confusion if you're using these. So accept, accept, repeat after me, accept. This means to receive willingly or to agree to. She accepted the job offer without hesitation. Or he accepted the gift graciously. Accept, repeat after me, accept. So we have accept, accept. Don't worry if you can't hear that difference because it is context that will tell you which one you need. But keep practicing and try to get that pronunciation difference. Except, this is not including or other than. Everyone except John, so not including John. Everyone except John was present at the meeting. Or, I like all vegetables except, how would you complete that? I like all vegetables except, put a vegetable you don't like, that's not included, put your choice in the comments. For me, I like all vegetables except baby corn. I will not eat baby corn. So remember, accept means to receive or agree to something, and accept means excluding other than. How about this one? Your outfit really, your eyes. Your outfit really complements your eyes. And notice that spelling, the ending needs to have the E, not the I. Complements your eyes. So first let's look at the spelling with the I. This is a noun, a compliment. This means an expression of praise or admiration. She gave him a compliment. You give someone a compliment. She gave him a compliment on his new haircut, or he received many compliments on his presentation. Now, compliment, the same pronunciation, but different spelling. Notice the ending has that E. Compliment is a verb. It's something that completes or goes well with something else. For example, ice cream perfectly complements apple pie. Or her skills complement his experience. So he has a specific set of experience and her skills match perfectly with that. Her skills complement his experience. So remember, the pronunciation is the same, but compliment as a noun, this is praise or admiration, and to compliment as a verb, spelled with the E at the end, is to complete or enhance something. How about this one? The arrival of the guest was announced. The arrival of the eminent guest was announced. Eminent with an E, notice that pronunciation, eminent. Repeat after me, eminent. Good. Eminent means famous and respected within a particular sphere. The eminent professor was invited to speak at the conference. She met several eminent scientists at the event. So in the sphere, in the world of science, these particular people are eminent. But in other worlds, the world of music or dance, they're probably not eminent. Imminent with an I, notice this pronunciation, imminent. Repeat after me, imminent. Imminent means about to happen, impending. The storm's arrival is imminent, or the company face imminent bankruptcy. Remember, eminent, repeat, eminent. This means famous and respected. Imminent, repeat, imminent. This means about to happen. How about this one? Robert, that he was not interested in the position. Robert implied that he was not interested in the position. Imply, repeat after me, imply, imply. This means to suggest or indicate without explicitly stating. So he didn't say, I'm not interested, but maybe it was his body language or his tone or his reaction. For example, his tone implied that he was annoyed. So in this example, he did not say, I'm annoyed, but he said, well, can we do it already? And that implied that he was annoyed. You can use this in a positive way. Her smile implied that she was pleased with the outcome. Infer, repeat after me, infer, infer. This means to deduce or conclude information from evidence and reasoning. For example, from his words, I inferred that he was unhappy. So I concluded based on his words, maybe the tone of his voice or what he said, but he didn't specifically say, I'm unhappy. I inferred it because he implied it with his words. We use this a lot with making conclusions. She inferred from the data that the project was successful. Remember, imply, repeat after me, imply. This means to suggest or indicate. Infer, repeat after me, infer. This means to deduce or conclude from evidence. How about this one? The knot was too and came undone. The knot was too loose with two O's, loose and came undone. Loose means not tight or firmly fixed. We use this a lot with clothing. She wore a loose dress on a hot day. But you can use this to mean not tightly fixed. For example, the screws on the chair were loose. Now don't confuse this with the spelling of lose, which has one O and a different pronunciation, because notice that z, lose, lose. Repeat after me, lose. But not tight, loose, with an S, loose. Repeat after me, loose, lose. Okay, very good. Practice that. To lose is, of course, to be unable to find something, but it also means to fail to win. For example, I always lose my keys. Or the team doesn't want to lose another game. So remember, loose, oos. This means not tight or firmly fixed. And lose, z, lose. This means unable to find or fail. Now you're going to expand your vocabulary with 100 adjectives to describe personality. First, let's talk about sentence structure. Commonly, you can use to be plus adjective. Janice is nice. Of course, you need to conjugate your verb according to the subject. I am nice. Another common structure is to use adjective plus noun. I met a nice person. Notice the adjective comes directly before the noun, so it's article, adjective, noun. I met a nice person. Pay attention to this sentence structure. I'll also teach you more advanced sentence structures in the different examples. Now let's get started with our 100 advanced adjectives, starting from A all the way to Z. Adaptable, adaptable. This is when you're willing and able to change to suit different conditions. So let's say 1 minute you're editing a report, next you're leading a presentation, next you're analyzing financial information. So you're working and changing to do many different things. I'm very adaptable. Adept, adept. You're adept at something. Notice that preposition at. When you're adept at something, it means you're skilled at something. You're very good at something. I'm very adept at using SAP. Adventurous, adventurous. This is when you're willing to try new or different things. A job posting might say, we're looking for someone who's adventurous because this position requires traveling all over the world. So if you're adventurous, you can apply. Affectionate, affectionate. This is showing feelings of liking or love. She gave me an affectionate farewell, so a very loving farewell. I've summarized all 100 adjectives into a free lesson PDF that includes the adjective, the definition, and an example sentence. You can look in the description for the link to download the free lesson PDF. Ambitious, ambitious. This is when you have a strong desire to become successful in your career or in life. I'm attracted to ambitious men. Does that describe you? Are you ambitious? Artistic, artistic. This is when you're able to create or enjoy art. Would you describe yourself as artistic? Assertive, assertive. When you're assertive, it means you're confident saying what you mean or what you feel without fear. I need to work on being more assertive. I need to work on saying what I want, saying what I feel without being afraid of what other people might think of me. I need to work on being more assertive. Attentive, attentive. When you're attentive, it means you're very helpful and you take care of others. I try to be very attentive to my students, which means I try to be very helpful. Authentic, authentic. This means that you're real, you're true. You're not pretending to be someone that you're not, you're authentic. Sometimes being authentic around others is difficult. Sometimes being the real you is difficult because you're afraid that people might judge you. Approachable, approachable. This describes someone who is friendly and easy to talk to. My goal is for all my students to describe me as approachable. Would you describe me as approachable, friendly, and easy to talk to? If so, put that in the comments. Jennifer, you're approachable. Balanced, balanced. This is when you consider all sides or opinions equally. Even though she's a Democrat, she's very balanced. She considers other sides and opinions other than Democratic opinions. Bright, bright. This is another way of saying smart or intelligent or someone who learns quickly. My students are all very bright. I know you'll learn these adjectives very quickly because you're bright. Broad-minded, broad-minded. This is someone who is willing to accept different behaviors, different opinions, different lifestyles. Being broad-minded is important when you work with people from around the world. Candid, candid. When someone is candid, it means that they're honest and they tell the truth about a situation. To be candid, I left my job because I didn't like my boss. Cheerful. This is someone who is happy and positive. Cheerful. I try to surround myself with cheerful people. Chill. Chill. This is an informal adjective but commonly used. And it describes someone who is relaxed, who isn't worried, isn't anxious, who's very chill. As I get older, I become more and more chill. More relaxed. I don't stress as much. I'm not as anxious or worried. I'm chill. Are you chill? Put that in the comments if you are. I'm chill. Clever. Clever. This is another advanced way of saying smart or intelligent, someone who learns quickly. She's a very clever student. Communicative. Communicative. This describes someone who is willing to talk to others and who is willing to share information. Did you notice that Julie wasn't very communicative at the meeting today? Compassionate, compassionate. This is someone who is very sympathetic to others, especially when others are in a difficult situation and they want to help that person. They're very compassionate. She's a compassionate reporter. Competitive, competitive. This describes someone who really wants to win and who enjoys competition. I am very competitive. Sometimes I'm a little too competitive because I love winning. What about you? Are you competitive? Charismatic, charismatic. This is someone who is well-liked and well admired. And because of that, they're able to influence others easily. If you want to win the election, you need to be more charismatic. Considerate, considerate. This is when you care about and respect others. It was very considerate of you to change the meeting because you knew I had an appointment. Constructive, constructive. This is usually information or advice that's meant to help someone or help someone improve their performance. Can I give you some constructive criticism? Can I criticize you, but in a way that's meant to help you improve your performance? Can I give you some constructive criticism? Coy, coy. When someone's coy, they intentionally don't reveal information because they want to make that information more engaging or interesting. She's being very coy about the party. So she's not sharing a lot of details about the party, but that makes you wonder about the party and want to know more. So it makes you interested in the party. She's being very coy about the party. Courageous, courageous. Someone who's courageous is able to control their fear or negative emotion in fearful or dangerous situations. It was very courageous of you to quit your job and go back to school in your 40s. Creative, creative. This is someone who produces or uses unique or original ideas. We're looking for someone who's creative, curious. This is someone who is interested in learning about the world around them. Being curious is a great quality when you're learning a language. Would you agree with that? If you agree, put I agree in the comments. Dependable. This is someone deserving of trust and confidence. My assistant is very dependable. Determined. When you're determined, you want something really badly and you're not willing to let anything or anyone stop you from getting the thing that you want. If you're determined, you'll become fluent. That's my promise to you. But it takes determination. You need to be determined. Direct. When someone's direct, it means they communicate in a way that says exactly what they mean in a very honest way without worrying about being judged or hurting someone's feelings. I like how our CEO is very direct even when delivering bad news. Dynamic. This is someone who has a lot of different ideas and who is very energetic and forceful. Has anyone ever told you that you're very dynamic? Easygoing. This describes someone who is relaxed and who doesn't easily get upset. My new manager is way more easygoing than my last one. Eclectic. When something is eclectic, it consists of many different types, methods, or styles. I work with an eclectic group of students in the Finally Fluent Academy. So I work with many different types of students in the Finally Fluent Academy. Emotional. This is when you have and express strong feelings and emotions. John became very emotional at his retirement party. Energetic. This is when you have a lot of energy. Even though she's almost 80, my grandmother is very energetic. Enthusiastic. This is when you have an interest in a particular subject and you're very eager to want to be part of that subject. I love how enthusiastic you are about our new plan. Extroverted. This describes a person who enjoys being with other people and are very energetic when they're with other people. Although I'm not very extroverted, I love working in sales. Exuberant. This describes someone who is very energetic and simply happy to be alive. She's an exuberant speaker. Fearless. Of course, this means you're free from fear. Good negotiators need to be fearless. Flexible. This is when you're able to change or be changed based on the situation. My schedule is very flexible next week. Forgiving. This describes someone who forgives easily. I'm thankful I have a forgiving boss. A boss who forgives easily. Fruitful. This is something that produces good results. He had a fruitful career as a lawyer. So it says he was very successful in his career. He produced good results. Frank. This describes someone who is honest and sincere. Thank you for being frank with me. Now remember that Frank is the name of a man, so you could possibly say Frank is very frank. So a man whose name is Frank is very frank, which means he's very honest and sincere. Fun-loving. This is when you enjoy having fun and not being too serious. Although I'm the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, I'm also very fun-loving. Gregarious. This is someone who likes being with other people. Being gregarious is an important quality of a nurse because if you're a nurse, You need to like being around other people and spending time with your patients. Genuine, genuine. This describes someone who is real and exactly what they appear to be. Her speech was genuine. Honorable, honorable. Notice that silent H, honorable. This is someone who's honest, silent H, honest, and fair. She's an honorable boss, and I respect her decision. Humble, humble. This is someone who's modest, who shows a low estimate of their own worth. Although she makes $2 million a year, she's very humble. So this means she doesn't act like she makes $2 million a year. She drives a regular car, lives in a regular house, wears regular clothes. She's humble. Handy, handy. Someone who's handy means they're really skilled with using their hands, especially when it comes to tools and repairing, fixing, or even making things. I am not very handy, which means I'm not very good at repairing or fixing things or making things using tools with my hands. What about you? Would you describe yourself as handy? Are you handy? Imaginative. Imaginative. This is someone who can easily think of new, creative, original, innovative ideas. Kamal is an imaginative designer. Inquisitive, inquisitive. This describes someone who wants to know about a lot of different things. Usually someone who's inquisitive asks a lot of questions. I love when my students are inquisitive about my lessons. So I love when my students ask questions. Impeccable, impeccable. This is something that is perfect, that has no mistakes, no errors, no flaws. Sylvia gave an impeccable performance. Intuitive, intuitive. When someone's intuitive, it means they can understand things, but more based on emotions and feelings rather than facts or information. I'm very intuitive when it comes to hiring, which means when I hire someone, I trust the feeling I get about that person rather than the facts on their resume. So they might have this amazing resume, but when I'm talking to them, if I don't get a good feeling about that person, I'm not going to hire them, which means I'm very intuitive. I trust my intuition. I'm very intuitive. Ingenious, ingenious. This is very intelligent or skillful. The way you handled that situation was ingenious. Inviting, inviting. Someone who's inviting makes you feel very welcome in any new environment or situation. The new HR manager is very inviting. Jubilant, jubilant. This is feeling and expressing great happiness, usually because of a success. The fans were jubilant after the game. So they were very happy, which means the team won. The fans were jubilant. Keen, keen. This describes someone who is very willing and eager and wants something. She's very keen. She's already followed up with me. So maybe we had an interview yesterday and she already sent me an email asking if I needed to know anything else about her. She's very keen. Kind-hearted, kind-hearted. This is someone who really enjoys helping other people. My doctor is very kind-hearted. Lively, lively. This is someone who's full of energy and enthusiasm. My team is so lively today. Logical, logical. This means reasonable based on good judgment. You made a logical decision. Loyal, loyal. This is someone who provides support in any situation. Kirk is our most loyal manager. He's been with the company for 20 years. Laudable, laudable. This is something that deserves praise, even though there was no success or little success. Your actions are laudable. So even though you didn't succeed or get the result you wanted, you still deserve praise, most likely because you acted in a very responsible way. Mature, mature. When someone's mature, it means they act in a way that's very well developed emotionally. Although Chirac is only an intern, he's very mature. So this suggests he acts in a way that makes him seem older because he's more well developed emotionally compared to his age. Meticulous, meticulous. This means very careful with close attention to detail. As a quality assurance professional, I need to be meticulous. Marvelous, marvelous. This is another way of saying very good. Marvelous. They did a marvelous job for the new client. Nimble, nimble. This is someone who is quick and exact with either their movements or their thoughts. His nimble hands are perfect for repairing antiques. Antiques are very delicate, but he can move his hands in a very quick way. His hands are very nimble. Open-minded, open-minded. This describes someone who is willing to consider ideas or opinions that are different from their own. Doctors are becoming more and more open-minded. Optimistic, optimistic. This describes someone who is hopeful, who sees the good parts of a situation, or who believes that good will come from a situation. I'm optimistic that I'll pass my oral exam. I'm hopeful. Out of this world. Out of this world. This is something that's extraordinary, superb. Your design skills are out of this world. Outgoing, outgoing. This is someone who is friendly and energetic and finds it easy and enjoyable being with other people. Now that I feel confident with my English, I'm more outgoing at work. This is something a lot of students want to have. So definitely improve your English so you can be more outgoing. Pensive, pensive. When someone is pensive, it means they're thinking, and they're usually quite quiet. They're thinking very seriously. They're pensive. Julie was very pensive during our presentation, which means she was quite quiet during the presentation and she was just thinking. Proactive, proactive. This means that you take action to change something rather than waiting for the situation to happen and then simply reacting to the situation. One of my best qualities is that I'm proactive. Perceptive, perceptive. This means that you're very good at noticing details and information that other people may not notice. We really appreciate your perceptive comments. So you provided information that nobody else thought of, but you were very perceptive. We appreciate your perceptive comments. Persistent, persistent. This is when you continue doing something in a determined way, even when you face difficulties or challenges. When I'm solving a problem, I'm very persistent. Punctual, punctual. This means you arrive or you do something at the scheduled time, so it means not late. Thankfully, the contractors are very punctual. They say they'll be here at 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. they're here. They're very punctual. Qualified, qualified. This is when you have the skill, the knowledge, or the ability to do something specific. Ronnie is the most qualified accountant I know. Riveting, riveting. This means extremely interesting. The speakers at the conference were all riveting. Renowned, renowned. This means you're famous for something specific. Maya Angelou is a renowned poet. So she's famous, but for something specific, poetry. She's a renowned poet. Ravishing, ravishing. This means extremely beautiful. You look ravishing in that dress. Or if you're a male, you look ravishing in that suit. Reverent, reverent. This is showing great respect or admiration. The reverent crowd became silent when she appeared on stage. So to show their respect and admiration, the crowd became silent. So we can say they're a reverent crowd. Self-reliant, self-reliant. This means that you rely on your own skills and abilities. When you work remotely, you need to be self-reliant. Sensible, sensible. This means having and using good judgment. I like working with Hamid. He's very sensible. Savvy, savvy. This means you have practical knowledge and skills. She's very savvy when it comes to marketing. And I'm sure you're familiar with the term tech savvy, which means you're very skilled and knowledgeable when it comes to technology. Tech savvy. I'm very tech savvy. What about you? Are you tech savvy? Put that in the comments. I'm tech savvy. I'm not tech savvy. Supportive, supportive. This is giving encouragement and approval. As a teacher, I try to be very supportive to all my students. Sincere, sincere. This means honest, not false, not invented. Her apology was sincere. So she said, I'm sorry, and she said it in an honest way, not I'm sorry, where clearly she's not actually sorry. I'm sorry. Her apology was sincere. Straightforward, straightforward. This means honest and not hiding one's opinions. I love how straightforward Shirley is. Sage, sage. This means wise, and we use it specifically with people who are wise because they're old. And with their old age, they gain wisdom. They're very sage. The consultant has 20 years of experience, so we can trust his sage advice. Steadfast, steadfast. This means staying the same for a long time, not changing, not losing purpose. Jose is a steadfast assistant. Tenacious, tenacious. This is when you're unwilling to accept defeat or unwilling to stop doing or having something. Felicity is a tenacious student. Thrilling, thrilling. This means very exciting. Fabio's plan for the company is thrilling. Tender, tender. This means gentle, loving, or kind. It's important to be tender when you're delivering bad news. Tactful, tactful. This is when you're careful not to say or do something that could upset others. Yusuf quit in a very tactful way. Upbeat, upbeat. This means positive, with hope for the future. Marie is very upbeat about the proposal. Unrelenting. I like this one. Unrelenting. This means extremely determined, never weakening or ending. I appreciate my parents' unrelenting support. Their support never weakens. It never ends. It's unrelenting. Versatile, versatile. This is when you're able to change easily from one activity to another, or when you can use one thing in many different ways. Brad Pitt is a versatile actor. So he's one actor, but you can use him in many different ways. Romance, comedy, action, drama. He's a versatile actor. Vibrant, vibrant. This means energetic, exciting, and full of enthusiasm. I love how vibrant my work environment is. Witty, witty. When someone's witty, it means they're funny, but in a very intelligent way. My pilot was very witty. Youthful, youthful. This means having qualities that are typical of young people. Her youthful enthusiasm makes coming to work more enjoyable. So maybe she isn't youthful, maybe she is 50 or 60 years old, but her enthusiasm, her energy is youthful, which is a very positive thing. So it's more enjoyable coming to work. Zealous, zealous. This means enthusiastic and eager. I appreciate how zealous she is. Do you want me to make another masterclass just like this? If you do, put masterclass, masterclass, put masterclass in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep expanding your vocabulary with this class. Make sure you watch it now.